From the Frank Beck Chevrolet Studio Annex, it's time again for Time Out Overtime on the Time Out Overtime YouTube channel. I'm your host, Rick Arsenault. And as always, before we go any further, please, if you haven't done so yet, please get down there in the corner and smash that like and subscribe button. It would mean so much to me. Thank you very much. On this Thanksgiving Eve, in which of course we all have a lot to be thankful for. I'll focus mainly on the Lions Bears game tomorrow. Try to get you caught up on everything that's going on with the Lions as far as injuries and such. Who's in, who's out. They are still 10.5-point favorites. We're going to do a little trivia too on Thanksgiving football and the Lions. Spend a few minutes on that. So anyway, let's get basketball and hockey out of the way first. First, the Pistons are in Memphis tonight, taking on the Grizzlies. The Pistons come in 8-11. The Grizzlies are 11-7. I don't think the Pistons will win tonight. If they do, I'll be surprised. Memphis is very good. As I said, the Pistons come in with a record of 8 wins and 11 losses. They did snap a losing streak the other night on a last-minute layup by Jaden Ivey. 2-point victory. By the way, too, that was, as I said, that was their 8th win. Their 8th win. Yeah, they're 8-11 now. That was their 8th win last night. You know, the Pistons, how bad it was last year. Pistons didn't win their 8th game last year until February 11th. Actually, that was earlier this year. February 11th was when they won their 8th game last year. Actually, when you look at it, they're only 6 wins away from equaling their win total of all last year, which, of course, was 14. Well, that's hard to fathom, isn't it? You imagine a team being that bad as they were last year. Boy, gosh darn awful. Anyway, they're a lot better this year they're much more competitive this year than they were last year. I don't know what the issue is with Cade Cunningham, but he's still out. It's a lower body injury, I believe. I don't know specifically what the issue is, but who knows when he'll be back. I'd have to say so far in his career here in Detroit, he's been a disappointment. Number 1 overall pick. And Cade Cunningham, up to this point, up to now, has been a disappointment. So anyway, that's where the Wings are. That's where the Pistons are. The Wings are at Little Caesars Arena tonight, taking on the Calgary Flames. I better clear the throat here a second. Hang on. The Wings come in with 20 points. They're 9-10-2. Calgary having a very good season. They're second place in the Pacific Division with 27 points. This looks like a blowout at Little Caesars tonight, But anyway, their traditional Thanksgiving Eve game. I fully expect, basketball and hockey on Thanksgiving Eve. I guess it's a traditional bar night too. Wait. Apparently, Thanksgiving Eve has always been the most lucrative night of the year for bars and taverns. Why? Why is that? Because you don't have to work the next day. You wake up Thanksgiving Day, hungover. You're watching the hockey. I don't get it. What do you have to go to the bar and tie one on Thanksgiving Eve for? It's apparently it's tradition. I don't understand that. You're watching the Lion game with a hangover, upset stomach, the whole 9 yards. Oh, to me, you're ruining Thanksgiving doing that. But to each his own, I guess. And apparently, this is also one of the biggest nights, if not the biggest night of the year for the pizza delivery business. Yeah. So that's always been that way too. So people eat pizza on Thanksgiving Eve, and then of course turkey on Thanksgiving. So, as far as Michigan and Michigan State basketball goes, as I said before, we're not really going to do a whole lot of them until they get into their Big Ten season. But right now, I can tell you, Michigan has won 5 in a row. They're 5-1. They're in their tournament in Fort Myers, and they're playing Xavier tonight. Xavier comes in 6-0. They're undefeated. Should be a good game tonight in Fort Myers. Michigan State lost last night out of Maui in the Maui Classic, 71-62 to Memphis. They're playing North Carolina tonight. I think that game starts at 9:30. Spartans are 5-2 right now overall. So, they have not been shooting well from three-point land. Spartans haven't been. So, Tom Izzo has not been a happy camper. He certainly wasn't happy after last night's game. He still takes losses very badly. And you wonder how much longer Tom Izzo is going to do this. You know, he's got a job until he wants it. So anyway, okay. Before we football the rest of the show here, so before we get into that, I think the high. What is the high next Tuesday? Like 24. Next, maybe this weekend the high is 24. Well, in one of the anyway, we're in for a string of much colder than normal weather with highs in the 20s and lows in the teens. It looks going to look like February. Where am I going with this? What am I segueing into? My segue into this is if you haven't done so yet, now is the time to get to Beck Chevrolet and make an appointment to make sure your vehicle is ready for the winter weather ahead. That's very relevant. You get in there, you let them check the strength of your battery, your belts and your hoses, your wiping blades, your antifreeze, and more. Plus, now's the perfect time to get that new set of tires so you aren't going slipping and sliding down the highway. And if you don't think your vehicle will make it through another rough Michigan winter, let the sales pros at Beck's help you find a vehicle for all seasons. You know, the 2025s are rolling in nearly every day out of the lot, so right now their selection is tops. Pardon me. You can check out their inventory on their webpage at frankbeckchevy.com, or better yet, stop by the dealership on M99 between Hillsdale and Jonesville and let them help you experience the Frank Beck difference. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. Like I said before, you get in there, you say hello to their newest member of the sales team, the veteran Mr. Mike Brinkman. You won't meet a nicer man. Get in there and say hi to Mike. Buy a car from him. Be a good man. Yeah. Welcome, Mike Brinkman, to the Chevrolet, Beck Chevrolet sales team. Okay. Bears and Lions tomorrow. Kick off the day at 12:30. Lions, 10.5 point favorites. The 4:20 or 4:30 game or whatever it is from Dallas looks like a real stinker. The Giants and the Cowboys. And then the night game at 8:20 on NBC, probably going to be the best matchup of the day. The Dolphins and Packers from Lambeau. You know, Dolphins are a completely different team. They're Jekyll and Hyde team, and they're a completely different team with Tua Tagovailoa in there. I don't bet, but I'm thinking Dolphins are going to beat the Packers tomorrow night. I really do. I think the Packers are 3-point favorites? Yeah. And then looking at the other team in the division, the Vikings are at home Sunday to take on the Arizona Cardinals. They're 4-point favorites. I'm picking the Cardinals to win that game too. But getting back to tomorrow, a Thanksgiving Day game, the Lions are favored by 10.5 points. Take a guess. If you're watching, take a guess out there. When was the last time the Lions were favored by this many points over the Bears? How far back do you have to go when the Lions were favored by 10 or more points to beat the Bears? I'll give you a second or two to take a guess. No Googling, no fair. Don't Google it. Just take a guess right now. While you're guessing, I'll take another swig here. Hang on. I'll tell you. No Googling, no fair. So you have to go all the way back. Give up. You made your guess. You have to go all the way back to 1972. Was the last time the Lions were favored to beat the Bears by more than 10 points. 1972. That would have been head coach Joe Schmidt's last season as a Lion head coach. After that year, he simply was burned out, said he didn't want to do it anymore. I think the press was giving him a hard time. They finished in second place that year. Green Bay finished 10-4. The Lions were in second place, 8-5-1. And Minnesota finished third, 7-7. The Bears finished fourth that year. I think they only won 4 games that year. But in 1972 was the last time the Lions were favored by more than 10 points to beat the Bears. Interesting, isn't it? Who's going to return kicks tomorrow? Because Khalif Raymond has been placed on IR, which means he'll miss the next 4 games. He's eligible to come back on December 30th, Monday night in San Francisco, if all goes well. Who's going to return kicks? They could very well bring Maurice Alexander up from the taxi squad. It won't be Amon-Ra St. Brown, I can promise you that, because Dan Campbell said so. Jameson Williams could return kicks. I don't think I'd want to see him doing that either. They have a number of candidates that could return kicks. So we'll just have to wait and see till the game starts tomorrow. It looks right now like Taylor Decker and Carlton Davis are out. We don't know for sure. We'll have to wait until 11 o'clock tomorrow, exactly find out who's in and who's out. It looks like both those guys are going to be out. In the secondary, you can do some things. You're going to have look for Emmanuel Mosley, number 4, to play, get a lot of play tomorrow in the secondary. You can move Brian Branch over the corner if you want to play with Terrion Arnold, who's going to be back tomorrow. You could even play Brandon Joseph with Kirby Joseph at the safeties if you wanted. So Aaron Glenn and Deshae Townsend, the secondary coach, have several options they could use tomorrow in the game if they don't have Carlton Davis. And as far as Decker not playing, Dan Campbell said when asked about it yesterday morning on his radio show, when asked if he would slide Penei Sewell over to left tackle, he said in their walkthrough on Monday, they had him at right tackle. Last minute decision, they could always move him over to left tackle, but if Dan Skipper does have to play left tackle, he can have a hard time keeping Mr. Sweat out of the backfield. So I look for, if Dan Skipper's left tackle, I look for the Lions to chip Sweat. Put a couple of chips on him with a tight end and a running back. Because a couple of weeks ago in Houston, Dan Skipper did not have a good night against Danielle Hunter. He simply couldn't keep him out of the Lions backfield. He did not have a good night. In fact, Skipper has not had a good year. So, after a fairly decent last year. Running backs, Jahmyr Gibbs is just 114 yards shy of 1,000 yards. He could get that tomorrow. He could very well get that tomorrow. We talked about this on Monday. The Lions have a really legitimate shot at having both running backs gain more than 1,000 yards this year. As I said, Gibbs is just 114 off. What's Montgomery got like now? 636 right now with 6 games left. He is playing tomorrow. He wouldn't miss this game for the world tomorrow. No, I don't think you keep him out of there with anything. David Montgomery is playing tomorrow. 6 games left. He could very well exceed 1,000 yards too. So the Lions would join an elite list of teams with two running backs that more than 1,000 yards rushing in the same season. Now, no team has ever had two running backs and two wide receivers all with 1,000 yards. It's never happened. Lions do have an outside shot at that with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs. Not Jahmyr Gibbs, but Jameson Williams exceeding 1,000 yards in receiving yards. It's a long shot, but it could happen. As good as this offense has been this year. You know, I think last year too. I think I want to say the Lions on Thanksgiving Day took the Packers for granted, or took the Bears for granted in both their games. But I don't think that's going to happen this year. I think the Lions are going to cover that 10-point spread tomorrow. I guess I said I don't bet. I'm not a betting man, but if I did, I'd take the Lions and lay the points right now. Okay, we're going to. We got everything out of the way here. I wanted to tell you. A couple of other things here too. The three other teams that have been 10-2 have started the season at 10-2. Of course, the Lions have done it this year, here in 2024. 1934, Lions won their first 10 and then lost the 11th game. So their first 11 games, they were 10-1. So that's a winning percentage of .909. And also in 1954 and 56, the Lions started the season 7-1 for a winning percentage of .875. Oh, just for the heck of it, too. Right? Lions could, a lot that has to happen. The Lions could clinch a playoff spot tomorrow, of course, with a win. And losses from the Seahawks, Bucks, Cardinals, and Niners would all have to lose. If that were to happen, the Lions would clinch a playoff spot before December. I don't know if that's ever happened either. But was there something else I wanted to say, too, before we... looking here, looking. Anybody back? He got the injuries out of the way. Does that surprise you? The Lions releasing James Houston? It did not me. When asked about it, Dan Campbell said yesterday it just didn't work out. He was pretty much a one-trick pony. What do I mean by that? I mean, all he could do was rush the passer. Quite frankly, I think that broken ankle that he sustained last year has had an effect on him. I really do. Lions tried him covering in a coverage linebacker, covering tight ends and backs out of the backfield. That didn't work out. He's not very good at stopping the run. He's pretty much what they call a one-trick pony, getting after the quarterback, and that was it. Wish him the best of luck. I'm sure he'll catch on with somebody else. So with releasing Houston and putting Raymond on IR, that did leave a couple of open roster spots. I expect the Lions to fill those before the game tomorrow. Yeah. So we'll do this, and then I give you a little trivia here on the Thanksgiving Day game. We got everything out of the way? I think we do. The featured game this week, of course, is I don't want to looking to Sunday because the Lions won't be playing this weekend. If you look to Sunday, our 1:00 game that we'll get in our neck of the woods here will be the Cardinals and the Vikings at 1. As I said, I think the Cardinals are going to win that game, although the Vikings are favored by 4. The featured game of the week is 4:25. The Eagles and Ravens should be a good one. I think Baltimore wins that game, by the way. So, okay, let's do this, and then we'll give you a little Thanksgiving Day trivia. As you know, I've told you many, many times, I wouldn't be able to do this show without the technical knowledge of one Tim Lindley at Quality PC and here at downtown Hillsdale. Tim, believe me, he was so good to me, helping me get set up and all this. You won't meet a nicer man and more knowledgeable man when it comes to tech services. This is the guy in our area. We're so lucky to have him here. 37 Waldron Street in downtown Hillsdale. It's a couple hundred feet west of Howell. For any technical needs at all, whatever it is, computers, new or used, maybe the computer you have now needs a little work done on it. Flat screen TV, mounting and setup, programming. Perhaps you're changing internet providers, printers, new or used, anything at all. Please, folks, get in there and see Tim for any technical issues. 37 Waldron Street, downtown Hillsdale, 517-610-5372. Or better still, get in there and see him at 37 Waldron Street, downtown Hillsdale. Tell him me and Mickey sent you, will you please? Thank you very much. Okay, let's see. We got everything out of the way that I wanted to inform you on here. Let me just double check. Lions offense. Lions offense. Points per game, they're averaging 32.7 points per game. That's first in the NFL. Defensively, they have allowed 16.6 points per game. That's second in the NFL. Before we do this Thanksgiving trivia, a quick look at the power rankings. That hasn't changed much. Sports Illustrated has the Lions first. CBS Sports has the Lions first. The Athletic has them first. ESPN has them first. Yahoo has them first. USA Today, they're all first in the Lions power rankings. They're all first in the power rankings. That's up to date. Don't have time to give you where everybody else is ranked, but that's the most important thing you need to know right there. So whose idea was it? The first Thanksgiving Day game, of course, was the Lions' first year in Detroit in 1934. Played at UAD Stadium before a packed house of about 26,000. I didn't realize that stadium held that many people. And they lost to the Bears 16-13. George A. Richards, who had just bought the Lions and moved them up here from Portsmouth, Ohio. Richards was the owner of WJR Radio in Detroit. And he came up with the idea to play football on Thanksgiving in 1934. Richards wanted to, he did it to increase his ticket sales and attract more fans to Lions games. Well, it was a big success right from the start. He arranged for the game to be broadcast on 94 NBC stations across the country on the NBC radio network. And the Lions, hang on. If I don't do this, I'm not going to make it to the end here. Sorry. The Lions, as I said, lost to the Bears. But Richards arranged for the game to be played and broadcast on 94 NBC stations across the country. They sold out the stadium. In fact, they had to turn people away from the gates. The Lions lost the game 16-13. The Cowboys didn't get in on this until 1966. Their general manager, Tex Schramm, wanted to increase national publicity for the Cowboys. On that day, Thanksgiving Day, 1966, they beat the Browns 26-14 at the old Cotton Bowl. Of course, they played every day on Thanksgiving since then, except 1975 and 77. Tradition of playing football on Thanksgiving Day can be traced back to college football, which began in 1876 with the Intercollegiate Football Association championship game. The game moved to New York in 1880 and became a social event that marked the start of the winter holiday season. So much for that. So you got a little trivia on Thanksgiving Day, the game there. And one last thing, as I've said before, I think I reminded you before, the Lions have not won on Thanksgiving Day since 2016. So they have lost their last 7 Thanksgiving Day games. The Bears won 3 of those games. I don't think anybody's going to sneak up on the Lions tomorrow. I don't think they're taking the Bears for granted. I look for the Lions to cover tomorrow rather comfortably. So, Caleb Williams has been playing better. but we'll see what happens. That's going to do it, I think. Yeah, we got everything done. I think we do. Yeah. I'll talk to you folks all again on Friday. Please have a happy, safe Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much turkey. And as I've said before, after every broadcast, please treat each other with respect. You're probably going to be watching the game tomorrow with friends or relatives that you don't normally watch the Lions game with. Be patient with them if they don't have much of a knowledge of football or what's going on, or if they're talking to you while you're trying to watch the game. I know what it's like. So that's going to about do it. Don't eat too much turkey. Have a very happy, safe Thanksgiving. And until Friday, when we recap the game, get you set up for the weekend, the Michigan-Ohio State game. As I said, treat each other with respect. Have a safe, happy Thanksgiving and a good rest of your evening. So long, everybody. Thanks for watching.